Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe in Lagos.
For the greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us. In London, I'm Austin Okonakman. Cecilia, good to see you on the show tonight. Congratulations. It's appropriate for the Super Eagles qualifying for the 2023 AFCON. It was nervy, but we should be glad.
They didn't have a choice. I actually predicted 5 goals, but somehow I didn't indicate where I want all the goals to go to, so they had to share it. Leone taking 2, of course, Super Eagles taking 3. They needed to qualify. Yeah. That's the only thing they owe Nigerians for failing to go to the World Cup. And the next best thing is for them to actually win a trophy in Côte d'Ivoire. We'll see the possibility of that when that gets underway, January, February. That's when the Nations Cup will be taking place in 2024. All right, this is what the show is looking like tonight. We'll be talking about, of course, the Super Eagles review, what happened at the weekend, and also take a look at all the teams that have booked a ticket to go to Côte d'Ivoire in January. And also, one of the Super Eagles stars will be joining us on the program, hopefully. And then we'll talk about the Federation Cup final. The last time we had the Federation Cup final was in 2021, where you have Bayelsa, both men and women. They had to rule everyone. But this time around, it's not like that because you have Bayelsa Queens and Rivers Rangers playing for the women. For the men, Benin Insurance and Enugu Rangers. They will be locking horns in Asaba on Wednesday. And of course, we'll talk about the FIFA Women's World Cup. It's 30 days to go. So from July 20th, the campaign will begin for all the teams just looking for one trophy. And we have a team that are trying to do a tripit. That's USA. They are gunning for it. Most of the countries have released their list. England started their camp. They had their first training today. And of course, they were visited by Prince Williams and so many other teams. But for the Super Falcons, hopefully, maybe at the end of this week, we will know when they will start camp. I think the NFL president mentioned 18th or something. But we'll wait this week. So we're waiting to see if they're going to resume their camp. But Austin, it is a loaded package tonight. And of course, we'll talk about something in sport that most people don't even know of, which is trafficking. Yeah, modern day slavery is happening in sports. We'll touch down on that. So this is what the program looks like tonight.
Loaded package, Cecilia. You know my line. It's always an action-packed world of sports. I'm counting down to the FIFA Women's World Cup. I cannot just wait to see not just about the team action, but to see the spectacle that Australia and New Zealand will give us, because we've created so much buzz around this World Cup, and FIFA has pumped in money. Now it's time to see what Australia and New Zealand can give us in terms of organization. And then when the action, gets underway, I'm sure the women will also give us something to talk about. You also talked about the Federation Cup. What a story. Bayelsa Queens and Rivers Angels, we meet again. It wasn't so pleasant about 2 weeks ago. Let's just hope that this time around we'll come and talk about just football. And for the men, football has a funny way to settle scores. Enugu Rangers didn't have the sort of season that they wanted, but now they're in the final of the Federation Cup. If they win that one, they pick the last ticket to the CAF Confederation Cup. Bendel Insurance were unbeaten all through the regular season. I think about 2-3 games in the Super 6 still unbeaten till they lost 2 matches. Bendel Insurance, it will almost be unthinkable to talk about that team ending this year without something to be remembered for. So it tells you the sort of encounter we're expecting in that Federation Cup final. I'd love to also, see us talk about that of trafficking, particularly in terms of educating people, because people just see sports as only one avenue where they can pick opportunities. But a big one, let's talk about the 2023 AFCON that will take place in Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. They've qualified. Cecilia, I'm just wondering, how did you predict 5 goals? Was it because of the 4-4 that they played with Sierra Leone, and then you thought it was going to be a goals galore? But it was really nervy.
Yeah, it was.
And I kept saying to myself that if the Super Eagles don't win this one, because with match day 5, they just needed to take pressure off themselves. If you leave it to the final day, then it becomes really, really nervy, and that's why we bring out the calculators. But shout out to the team. They won that one 3-2. They were up 2-0, and then Sierra Leone, as stubborn as ever when they see Nigeria these days, come back right at it. Victor Osimhen with a brace, scored his 17th goal for the Super Eagles in 25 appearances. That's a very decent record. I love it so much. We're expecting to have the standing captain for that match, Kenneth Omeruo. I can see him prepping to come on the show. So hopefully when Kenneth Omeruo joins us, we're going to have a robust discussion about the Super Eagles, how they executed that game in Monrovia, and what we should be expecting in terms of preparation for the 2023 AFCON, Cecilia.
Yeah, it is. Once he joins us, we'll talk about that. There you have the pictures of that game between Nigeria and Sierra Leone. Chukwueze, as usual, was fantastic. Then, of course, you have Kelechi Iheanacho coming off the bench to ensure that, yes, he ended 3-2, just to restore that pride the Super Eagles always have, and it happens. But before Kenneth Omeruo joins us, let's take a look at the teams that have qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations taking place in Cote d'Ivoire in 2024. It should have been this year, but you know, June, July is always a problem when it comes to Africa. There you have the teams that have qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations. Cote d'Ivoire, of course, they're hosting Morocco, Algeria, South Africa, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Tunisia. These are the teams. You have Egypt, Zambia, Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde, and, of course, Mali. These are the teams that have booked a ticket for the Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. And, of course, Nigeria will be gunning to win this one after what happened at the World Cup. If you fail to qualify for the World Cup, and the only thing you feel you can give to the fans will be to give them a trophy, something to cheer for in 2024. If they can do that, that will be great. But before that, confirmation of the result, of course, how it went down in that Group A on match day 5 of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier, where you have Nigeria and, of course, Sierra Leone. That game was played in Liberia, in Monrovia, simply because you don't have a good pitch right there in Sierra Leone. That's the reason. Wanted to see confirmation of that result, 3-2, and also take a look at, you know, what's going to happen in September, where the Super Eagles of Nigeria will play in Sao Tome and Principe. Okay, there you have it. The final fixtures for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. Guinea-Bissau and Sierra Leone will lock hands, and Nigeria and Sao Tome and Principe will also be in action. We're talking about the fact that this game might just be, well, how do I put it? Just use the home-based players to play the game so the senior players can actually rest, because those who actually traveled to Monrovia and Liberia didn't get a chance to play. But they will not be doing all the talking a lot before Kenneth Omeruo will join us, the standing captain for that game. It's a Tuesday, and of course, once it's a Tuesday, you're going to be having Kehinde Idris joining us on the program. So he's right here in Lagos studio. Kehinde Idris, well, it's great to actually have you join us on the program.
It's good to be here. It's good to, you know, sneak in from the back door to be here. And I was listening to you and Austin, you know, while making my way into the studio. And it's a bittersweet story, the Super Eagles and everything that happened. I think a lot of persons have even gone past what happened on the pitch with the players who did this, who did that. Everybody's having their focus on the coach, Jose Peseiro, and a lot of questions are on his table. One of the biggest questions, or one of the frequently asked questions by Nigerians that I have gotten to interview, you know, interact with, is the fact that must we always concede goals? Going to the Nations Cup, you have the best of the best assembling together. I think that is one place you should get it right. If we go by the whole saying in football, attack will win you games. Defense will win you championships, will win you trophies. And if our defense is not solid, tight, watertight, then it's a worry going into competitions like this. Also understand, if you check at the top of every of the table, top teams, Senegal, Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, all of these teams are there doing great things. That tells you the competition will be stiff when the forthcoming, you know, Nations Cup gets to center stage. And that's the question. I love the fact that we eventually got the 3 points. But Cecilia, 3 points at this stage, you would always get it. Somehow it's a Nigerian team. But when you go to the big stage, you mentioned putting a smile on our faces after not qualifying for Qatar 2020. Qatar 2022, do you know the bitterness? It looked like a competition Nigeria would have thrived. Canada thrived. Ghana did what they could do. All African nations, 5 of them, you know, got victories for the first time. And that looked like if Nigeria were to be there, would have rubbed shoulders with some, you know, greatness that happened.
Gone as far as Morocco, you know.
As far, exactly, probably. So if we couldn't get that, the Nations Cup, we should return to stamping our feet and our authority on the continent, and that's what it should be. As giants of Africa. So, Jose Pesero, I think that question, I'm not bothering myself about whether he's continuing on the job or whatever. What I'm asking is, or what I've gotten questions from to relate here is the fact that Nigerians are asking, must we always concede goals?
That's the question. Okay, he's asking so many questions. But then Austin will bring you in here before Kenneth Omeruo joins us on this one. He's talking about goals. Must we always concede goals? Somehow it happens.
No, Cecilia, what we're forgetting is only just looking at the Super Eagles. We are not checking other African teams that are doing so much work for their football. Sierra Leone, Cape Verde, and some other teams in Africa that used to be minnows, small teams. They have done, put Uganda in that mix too, even Benin Republic. They've done so well for their football. Since Senegal struggled to beat Benin Republic, you know? So African football has passed the stage where we say that because I know Cecilia and Benin Republic had to come back, but Benin Republic needed to win them, needed not to lose that match, and they didn't lose it. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
So with the Super Eagles and Sierra Leone, okay, look at Sierra Leone at the AFCON. They were decent. They got people talking about them, and for them is to sustain that momentum. So now that whenever they meet Nigeria, they know it will make them assess themselves to get better, they take the chance. You know what? Let's bring in Kenneth Omeruo, Super Eagles captain. He was Super Eagles standing captain in that game against Sierra Leone in Monrovia. He's in just chilling with the big boys. Kenneth Omeruo, good to have you on Sports Tonight.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Kenneth Omeruo, we have watched you grow as a footballer, and now you are arguably the most experienced, maybe with Ahmed Musa in that team. How far have you come with your Super Eagles journey?
It's been an amazing journey. You know, it's been ups and downs sometimes, but you know, I thank God I'm here. You know, still representing Nigeria. You know, when it's bad and when it's good as well. So I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm enjoying playing with this amazing talents that we have. You know, and I think very soon I'm sure we'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, you said it's good and bad experience. So let me not spoil it. Let me stay with the good ones. How good is it to have qualified for the 2023 AFCON?
Very good. It's, you know, it's what Nigerians deserve. I know some people might think you should beat Sierra Leone 3-0, 4-0. Football has changed, you know, with one, you have to stay always focused in the game. And I'm happy we could even conceding those 2 goals, we could still win that game. You know, it was important for us to be at the top of the group.
When it was 2-2, what was going through your mind, Kenneth?
What was going through my mind was that we should calm down and not let the noise and everything distract us, because, okay, he had a shot. That shot could easily have gone out as well, but it was a good goal, and, you know, there are things we would have done better to stop him from shooting, maybe get closer to the ball before he shot. But I'm happy with the way, you know, the players took it, never gave up, and we got the win that we deserved.
My colleague Cecilia is in Lagos. I'll hand it over to her now, Cecilia.
Yeah, Kenneth, our guest in the studio here was talking about must we always concede goals. I mean, I understand how hard it can be. I mean, you mentioned already these African countries are growing. So usually you can go to a particular country, beat them 5-0, 7-0. It doesn't happen anymore. But what are you guys going to do? Yes, I understand, yes, you're not the coach, but somehow the defense line, you're the most experienced player on the defense line. Is there something you guys can do differently to avoid that? Because we remember in Benin City, it was 4-0 and then it was 4-4. And the same Sierra Leone again, it takes Kelechi Iheanacho to come off the bench to be able to get that crucial 3 points that you guys needed to qualify for the Nations Cup with a game to spare.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't say it's up to the coach this time. This one was on us, you know, as a team. when the coach did everything he was supposed to do, we actually practiced a lot of defending in preparation for this game. And you see that pitch is not a decent pitch. You know, I don't know how it looked from the TV, but we worked hard on defense. We really worked hard on defense, and we considered those goals. Well, it's football, it happens. You know, every team concedes goals. And the national team is not like club side where you have every week to train and play games and improve on stuff. So national team comes maybe once in, I don't know, maybe in a year we go to national team 5 times, 6 times. So you have just a week to build the team, and you keep having new players, you keep changing things, and that consistency is not there. But I believe we're working really hard, and I'm sure with the right facilities, the squad has what it takes to win games. And then, like you said, there's a problem that we have to work together to stop, and I think we will get there.
Okay, you just mentioned about pitch. I remember talking to some of the players during the media party, and almost everyone talked about the pitch. Have you guys spoken to the Federation about this? Or maybe African players can come together, you know, and talk to CAF on what they can do about that? Because I understand I don't know how difficult it is for you guys to transition in playing, you know, smooth, good pitch, grassy and everything. Then you come to your country or to Africa, and then you're playing in pitches that you guys are not really comfortable on. And sometimes you pick up injuries because some of those artificial turf can be very, very hard on you guys.
So, for example, the pitch we trained in Lagos was totally different from what we met in Liberia, but they are both synthetic pitch. Well, the one in Lagos had sand, sharp sand, while the one in Liberia was rubber. And I can remember some players were feeling pains all through the week training in Lagos because of the synthetic pitch. Like Lukman, maybe he would have started the game, I don't know. But he missed about 3 sections of training. Even the one he joined us, he wasn't 100% because he had pains in his knee. And other players were complaining the same thing. You know, I think Africa has grown to a stage where every country should have a natural pitch. You know, I think that will help a lot.
Okay. Okay, Austin, coming in.
Okay, Kenneth, I just want us to still stay in line with some of the things that we need to do to get our football to the level where we want it. Let's rewind time to the last edition of the AFCON in Cameroon. At the time Nigerians were expecting the Super Eagles to perform, you guys crashed out. Then the Super Eagles missed out of the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Now you've qualified for the 2023 AFCON. Are you guys, you and your teammates, are you people under any pressure to deliver and win back the confidence that the fans of the Super Eagles need to have in you guys?
I don't know if, because sometimes it's funny, because as a player, you win the game against South Tome, we won 10-0, and we still get bashed by our fans for, I don't know if we weren't supposed to score as much goals as we did, you know, and then we lost. It's the same thing. I think for us, we need to build on the consistency. I think that's what is lacking right now. We need to be consistent in winning. You know, take every game as it comes. We don't have to think too much about the fans. We have to work as a team. I think with consistency, we want, if we can win, you know, 5-6 games in a row, I think we'll get the confidence of the fans back.
I see.
All right,
we have just one.
Okay. But we need to go on a break, Kenneth. We'll be back to you after this. So Kenneth, welcome back. Now, you talked about even when Super Eagles scored 10 goals, Nigerians will still not be happy. Maybe it's because of the team. I'm sure if you guys had played against a team like Senegal or maybe beating them 3-0, they would be happy. But there's something that they actually need right now. When I spoke with Osimhen, he talked about you guys trying to win the Africa Cup of Nations. Maybe that will soothe the fans, because it's been a long time Super Eagles won a trophy, and with the inconsistency of the results, as you mentioned, you guys want to be consistent, but when you don't have good pitches to play on and you come together under 1 week or even less than, you have 3 or 4 days to train, and next year you're playing games, is always hard. But how will you guys be able to put this together and deliver that trophy in 2024 for Nigerians to, you know, win that confidence back?
I think So I've been in the national team for 10 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it's something I've seen bad pitches, you know, I've seen worse pitches as well. And it's not something that will change overnight. So we as players have to know that this is Africa when we come back to play for Nigeria. And I see some of the players saying it as well. This is Africa. Whatever you see, you have to adapt as quick as possible. And I think it's different for the Nations Cup, because we will have about 3 weeks or a month to prepare. If we can get that time to prepare as a team, I think we'll play better and like Osimhen said, win the African Cup, because you know, the fans needs a trophy. They deserve it. I think that's the only way they can maybe forgive us for not going to the last World Cup.
Yeah. I know. I'll just ask you one more question and I will let you go, Kenneth. I know what players do whenever they talk about performance. They try not to bring coaches into it, but you have seen, I think you've passed through about 4 coaches in your 10-year career with the Super Eagles. What's your take about Jose Pizarro? You guys want to win the AFCON. He's been saying that the objective is to win next year's AFCON. Does he have the quality to win the AFCON?
Okay, I think yes. I know I'm speaking as a player under him. But at the same time, he has a profile of being being a big coach. I think the only thing missing is him. He needs to also realize that he is working in Africa. He's working for Nigeria, and he shouldn't expect things to run as fast as it works when he was in Porto or in another European country. In Africa, things are slow. He might need, okay, I want this to happen. I want the pitch to be cut. I want water on the pitch. It might not happen as fast as he wants it, and sometimes he gets frustrated about it, you know, and he gets angry. So I think because it's his first time coaching in Africa, I think, I'm not sure, I don't have all the details, but he needs to, first of all, realize that he is in Africa and things don't work as fast as he wants them to work. And he has to adapt. But for having the qualities to lead us, I have no doubt he does, and he has an amazing crew who get videos, you know, get videos of the opponents on time. And yeah, I think he has that passion. He wants to win.
I love it. That's a good place to live. But unfortunately, he took a job with Nigeria where we don't have any patience. We just want to win. Kenneth Omeruo, thank you so much for your time with us on the show tonight. And best wishes to club and country football. Thank you. Yeah, so that's it. Super Eagles defender.
Thank you.
Kenneth Omeruo. And Kende Idris, it is what it is. We don't have that patience. Sorry, Jose Pizarro. If you take this job, you need to win. Just win.
It's as simple as that. the patience have dried up.
Yeah.
I think Nigerians are now looking for everywhere where they could get, a smile being put on their face. At the point when the Super Eagles are not giving us something great, the Super Falcons will be there. But in recent time, also the Super Falcons have their own struggles. So there is nowhere to have a leeway. So the Super Eagles need to really turn up. But listening to Kenneth Omeruo, I think probably the soft-spokenness, the man has a way of, giving a soft landing to all of the issues. And probably if Nigerians, following this, I think they would have built better confidence in the team, and we're hoping that between now to the time the AFCON will take center stage, Jose Peseiro and his team will be in sync. There will be the energy will be synergized, and we would have a better showing at the Mundial.
And then stop bringing in new players in every game you're playing.
I mean,
he talked about that synergy. He mentioned that because you bring the players, some of them will not even play. And then when you're having two defenders already used to each other, you're bringing another one. It
breaks that.
Yeah, it breaks that synergy, so it's hard. I hope you listen and I know what.
Cecilia, when you talk about Jose Peseiro and his work, also remember the NFF and the administrative issues. Because that man's contract is under serious jeopardy now because of money. So that also affects performance. No matter what anyone will say, it's where you work that you eat. You know what I'm saying? So,
all right.
That could be something also.
Okay, it is what it is. Let's leave it there. Land $70,000 every month, and they want to cut down. And of course, maybe they'll start looking for a coach that will take lesser pay. All right. Okay, let's take a look at the Federation Cup. That's next because that's taking place on Wednesday. Enugu Rangers and Benin Insurance. You also have Bayelsa Queens and Rivers Angels. That game will be the one to look out for. There you have it. Start with the one for the men, Benin Insurance and Enugu Rangers. That game will be 5 p.m. Of course, it's Nigerian time because it's taking place in Nigeria, Asaba, Delta State. Let's take a look at that of the women. You have Bayelsa Queens, who are defending champions. They have Rivers Angels also. They won it in 2018, yeah, they won in 2018. But then Bayelsa Queens 2021, they won it. Their men also won. It was their time. But these two teams are the teams that have represented the NWFL on the continent. That's talking about the CAF Women's Champions League. So they've got the experience. They've got everything working for them. So Kennedy, I will start off with you. Now, let's start off with the women, of course. You remember the Super Six, both things met, and of course, the whole drama that played that played out. But at the end of the day, these two teams, of course, are gunning for something, which is get the Federation Cup, because Delta Queens already secured the ticket, to play the regional playoffs before they qualify for the Champions League. Yeah,
and I think when you say this final, if you understand women's football, at least in recent time, you understand you can get it bigger. Yes, Delta Queens is doing great. Also, Edo Queens, Robo Queens, but having Bayelsa Queens and also Rivers Angels in the final, I think these are final you want to pay your last dime to get to see, because good football will be on the pitch. Then also, it will be very edgy. You would find the best of technical ideas from the coaches and then interpretation of those ideas by the players. So it's a final I want to see. It's a final I can't wait for it to happen. And like we always say, the FA Cup is massive enough, and we should celebrate it even better. I think it's not getting the kind of publicity, it's not getting the kind of celebration that it should get. Because look at this is the FA Cup, and this is Bayelsa Queens versus Rivers Angels. If you're talking Rivers Angels playing any football match, you should get into every media. If you're talking Bayelsa playing any football match today, you should get into any public space. Now you're bringing both teams together. I think there should be better publicity, and I'm sure at the end of the 90 minutes or how long the game takes, we'll come back here and talk about how beautiful and how good the football was in the final. May the best team win.
Yeah, the best team should win. Austin?
Oldest cup competition in Nigeria. This one always gets us talking. And for some reasons, I just love the teams that made it. Well deserved. Rivers Angels needed to prove a point when they were having that topsy-turvy ride in the league. And I told you that they would do everything that they can to make it to the Super Six. They did, lost the final to Bayelsa Queens, and now they have another chance, you know, to prove themselves. Don't fight, don't chase referees. Just give us good football. And for Bendel Insurance, what a story. Yeah. I keep saying it, that they pick themselves up for everything that they did this season. Bendel Insurance got us talking for a team that was just coming in from the NNL. The Stones teams went unbeaten all through the season. And with that seat, and here we have Enugu Rangers, a team that struggled to just keep their MPFL status. Somehow they've made it to the final of the Federation Cup. We're definitely going to have a cracker. I'm coach of Enugu Rangers, Abdul Maikaba. After speaking ahead of the Federation Cup final, let's listen to him. We'll be right back.
I look at it as a very big opportunity for me and for the team. Everybody knows it's a difficult season for us. In the league, we suffered a lot. We have to escape relegation on the last day of the league. But we now have another opportunity through the Federation Cup, which I believe we have come a long way to come to this level. And I believe we are likely to win the trophy for Rangers. You can see a team that has not been in good form at the beginning, and the moment we get our rhythm, you see we will be stronger and stronger. Like our opponents, I can say they do the reverse. They started strongly, but now they are going down a little. So that gives us an edge. The spirit is higher in our camp than the insurance team. But quite okay, insurance is a very good side that have a lot of quality and young players, and they have character, more especially if you look at the way they go all through the season, about 18 games undefeated. But now you can see 2 games in a row, they are losing 2 games in a row. Shows clearly whether they are tired or they have lost their rhythm. So we can take it, and I believe I'm happy we are the next game after they lose 2 games. They have a little psychological issue now with the team to come back and fight against us in the final day.
So that's it. Rangers coach Abdul Maikaba Cecilia, I see he's investing. Abdul Maikaba is investing so much on mind games, you know, and it will be good to hear Monday or Dige clap back on this.
Yeah, I wish you can have him. But I remember when I spoke with him concerning this, his focus was just on the Super Six. And then he says, look, whatever you guys see on that day, that's what you will see. He wasn't willing to talk about the Federation Cup because for him, this is the Super Six. Federation Cup is still far. I'll change my tactics, try to talk to my players and see how they can recover from those losses and then be able to face Benin Insurance. If it's a rivalry in the 70s when Insurance and, of course, Rangers were the team to beat. But then let's just see what's going to happen on Wednesday. The better team, obviously, will win on the day. But I'll be happy if Insurance can actually, you know, nick this one, at least to consolidate on the unbeaten run they had. I think it was 26 before they lost 2 games back-to-back. And, of course, you know, without anything. But if they win this one, that unbeaten run can also be celebrated. All right, let's quickly move on from this and talk about trafficking. You know, what we mentioned earlier, ladies in sports every year, they have a different theme. This theme, it is our time. And, of course, the focus was how you can actually prevent players from signing slavery contracts that will endanger their lives. Now, this is happening not just in men's football, also in women's football, where agents, some of them will have to pay agents and travel to some countries, and then they are left there. And then some organizations now trying to see how they can talk to FIFA, NFF, and other federations across the globe to help these players, educate them, and so that they don't, you know, fall into the hands of, you know, dubious agents. Let's just take a listen to some of the participants at the event, because we'll wrap that up with the guests in the studio.
2015, we realized that there was exploitation in sport. So we started working with the federations, FIFA, UEFA, and I think we didn't receive a very important welcoming from them. This is something that they actually denied. We started researching and realized that in Europe only there were 25,000 African nationals who had been exploited in football only, and they had been put aside because they were not performing enough well. So after being exploited, they were stranded in Europe and not even able to return back home and not able to even mention to their family that they had failed. So that's how we started working with Mission 89, who had this advocacy as well on making this possible to make it more known. And it's still a combat that we are doing together, because now we are mixing here two extremely complex dimensions. It's a phenomenon of trafficking in sport which is not recognized by those who should, the federation of the highest level, or being at national level or international level. There is a kind of a shame to recognize it exists.
It's easy to promise them, look, I'm going to take you to maybe Monaco, you'll be the next Asisa Toshoala. I'll make you blow in a year. It's easy to give them those promises because they can't realize their dreams in their home country. And most times trafficking can be within borders or even outside. So it can be outside the country, even here to say, from Lagos to Enugu, I'll take you here and make you blow. So the thing is that with women athletes, there needs to be intention, there needs to be safe space for athletes. You're not supposed to pay agents. So this is a big knowledge gap, because it seems like you know it, I know it, everyone in the room knows it, but the athletes, the main people who are involved in this conversation, have no idea. So the first step towards engaging them is a lot of education. And this is where stakeholders play parts. So for instance, if the NFF, if there's a camp, it doesn't matter that you think they're professional athletes. You should still make them aware. There should be sessions on that. Whether it's on the 17, the under 20, there should be sessions. From grassroots sports, there should be sessions in the languages they understand. If you need to go to the north, go to the east, you need to really educate the athletes. I think that's the main thing that is a hindrance, that's the missing link, because they have no idea, and it puts them in a state to be vulnerable, because at the end of the day, they have dreams. They want to blow up. So they want to be the next Messi, next Asisa. So it's easy for anybody to sell them those dreams. So they need to be educated.
Education is key. Aguda nicked it there. Austin, you want to button on this one? Or
yeah.
Okay, forward.
Let me just jump on it. I like that we're having this sort of conversation, and every time this comes up, everybody just wants to get into sports now because of the opportunities. And I say, hey, you got to be careful. First, you must identify your talent and know that you're going to be useful in that space. And what I would have said was very important, education. But are we educating the right people? Because while you educate the NFF, when you educate the public, when you educate agents, and then you don't educate parents. Parents are the center of this opportunity-chasing lifestyle for sports persons. So let's keep that education going, and hopefully, we'll get a change someday.
All right, just quickly, Ken Idris, just your thoughts on this one, then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, I'm happy that this conference is not about how to push the player to the next level, good football and all of that. There are some things that even helps what you do on the pitch, and these are things you should know. That's why education outside there is as important as your talent. So education is nicked there, and we need to, pay more attention to that.
And be more intentional. Austin, we need to go. It's 30 days to the Women's World Cup. So your last sentence, closing on this one.
30 days to the Women's World Cup. I'm so loving it. I'm pumped up, Cecilia. I like the fact that the Super Falcons are looking forward to this. I love the fact that FIFA's put in some juicy money in there. Go to the World Cup, win or not, you get $30,000. I love the fact that the NFF has prioritized this. Let the action begin. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Ken Idris, it's good to have you join us again.
It's good to be here, and I'm looking forward to the festival at New Zealand and Australia. The women knows how to add paparazzi to everything.
They do. July 20th, that's when it's starting, the FIFA Women's World Cup. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Have a good night rest.